This is a huge goal. There are people, a lot of people, that go their whole lives with debt. There are people that will never be out of debt. And once you're out of debt, you can do whatever you want with your money. Hey, what's up you guys? It's Allison. Welcome back to my channel. So a lot of you lately have been asking me how to get started paying off your debt. I asked over on Instagram and to my email list what kinds of videos and blog posts you guys would like to see, and a ton of you said that you wanted to know how to really get started paying off debt. You said you were overwhelmed or had never really focused on paying off debt before, and that is what you really wanted help with. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. I'm going to walk you through the exact plan that I use to lay out my debt payoff plan, which I will link my debt payoff plan video up above so you can check that out. But we're gonna lay it all out. I'm gonna tell you step by step exactly how I created my plan to tackle my debt and how you guys can go ahead and get started as well. So let's get into this video. So if you are just now getting started taking control of your finances, you might be wondering why you even need to pay off debt. You're probably making your minimum payments, and now that you're on a budget, or if you're starting on a budget, you're like, why can't I just keep making my minimum payments? Well, if that is fine with you, if you're okay making minimum payments, or if you don't have a lot of debt, if debt doesn't really bother you, then there's no reason really for you to go full on intense with your budget to pay off your debt. I personally would like to live debt free. I don't like making the minimum payments. I don't like paying for things now that I purchased in the past. I mean, I bought my car in 2016 and obviously I'm still paying for that. So I just don't like paying constantly for things. I would like to use the money I'm making now for what I want now and make plans for the future. So that is the main reason why I want to pay off debt. I think, to sound very cliche, I think personal finance is a very personal thing. I know there's a lot of methods that really push paying off debt. I personally just like to help people figure out the tools that will get them to their financial goals, and living debt free is not a financial goal for every person. So if it is your goal, that whole spiel I just said, if it is your goal, that is what I'm going to help you with today. So let's go ahead and lay out this plan. So step number one is to make a list of all of your debt. So just write down every single debt you have, look up all the balances. You want actual real numbers, real debts. You want a total here. So make sure you are logging into all of your accounts to figure out what the balances are today. Make sure you're not forgetting anything. If you've never actually sat down and filled out a list of all of your debts, this could give you a little bit of sticker shock. I am going to warn you. Make sure that you go through your bank account and pick up any minimum payments that you're making. And what I mean by that is just make sure that you're not missing anything. So if a payment came out of your bank account last month for something, if it's a debt, make sure it's on your list. So making a list with all the balances, and then I want you to take all of those balances and total them up. Again, this could be a little bit scary if you've never done this before, but this is a really important first step. So when you total up all of those debts, that might be, if this is the first time you've ever done this, that number could shock you. It could be way more than you thought it was. It could be way less than you thought it was, which could be really good. Either way, don't let this overwhelm you, okay? We're gonna make a plan, and if your goal is to get out of debt, we're gonna make a plan and you're gonna get out of debt, okay? So make your list and then come back and we're gonna talk about step two. All right, so step two, you have your list of all of your debt and your debt totaled up. Step two is to save some money, okay? So for me, when I followed the Dave Ramsey plan, I still think this is a great first step. I save a $1,000 emergency fund. This is to cover any random thing, emergency, unexpected costs that could happen while you are working on paying off debt. So what savings feels comfortable for you. If you don't have a ton of debt or if you don't have a lot of income, $500 might be okay for you. If you have more debt, then $1,000 seems to be a really good place to start. One, because a lot of people have never had $1,000 in the bank before. If you're one of those people, that's the norm. It's very common, and the point of paying off your debt and taking control of your finances is to make things less stressful and easier on yourself and change your financial future. So if you've never saved $1,000 before, don't freak out. Okay, this is the step number one. This is, I'm gonna be honest, probably one of the hardest steps to taking control of your finances for a lot of people, because if you've never saved money before, if you've never had the mindset of needing to save money before, you really have to commit to this step. It's really important not to just be like, oh, this is my debt total, I'm gonna go pay it off without saving any money, because I promise you, as soon as you start making big debt payments, something's gonna happen. You're gonna need car repairs, your dog's gonna need to go to the vet, you're gonna have to go to urgent care for something. I hope that doesn't happen to you, but something is gonna happen is my point. And you really need that money to fall back on. Because if you don't, and you're trying to pay off debt, if you have an unexpected expense, that's gonna go on the credit card. My point is, it's gonna make you go farther into debt. It's just one of those things that if it can happen, it will happen in this situation, just to make your life harder. So once you have your debt total, save up an amount that you are comfortable with that will get you through your debt payoff journey. Keep in mind that it could take you a couple years to pay off your debt. So if you only want to save $500, but it's going to take you 300, if it's going to take you 3 years to pay off your debt, then you probably maybe want to save a little bit more than $500. It really depends on your expenses. If you don't have a lot of expenses, if you don't own a home and your monthly costs are minimum, $500 might be fine. Again, I'm not gonna tell you exactly how much you should save. I'm just gonna say $1,000 is a really good starting point. That is an amount most people haven't saved before, so it's going to force you to get serious about this. And that amount seems to kind of be a sweet spot that it covers most non-major emergencies. So if there was a huge medical thing, it's probably not gonna cover that. But a lot of regular, unexpected, or common emergencies will be covered by $1,000. So step number 3, we are going to create our plan of attack. So that means we're going to choose what debt payoff method we're going to use, and we're going to figure out where the heck this money is going to come from to pay off the debt. So there are 2 really common methods to paying off debt. So I'm going to go over both of those. I'm sure there's other ways that you could pay off your debt, but these are just the 2 most common, and we're going to talk about the one that I personally use. So the 2 we're going to talk about is the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method. So what is the difference between those? The debt snowball method is what I use, and basically what you do is you take your list of your debts and you put them in order from the smallest to the largest, and then you pay them off in that order. So you pay off the smallest one first, and then you make minimum payments on all of the rest of them. And the reason this is called a snowball is because, so you're paying minimums on all of them except the smallest. So you put the minimum payment and everything extra that you can squeeze out of your budget onto that smallest debt. Once that smallest debt is paid off, then you take everything you were paying to that debt and put it on the next one. So then you're paying minimum payment plus all this extra money on the next smallest debt, and it just keeps going. Every time you pay off a debt, you take everything you were paying on that debt and put it on the next one. So as you get up to those debts that are higher balances, you have more money to pay on them. So it really is a method that is focused on quick wins, which is also really great for motivation, which is why it is recommended if you've never tried to pay off debt before, or if you're kind of struggling with staying motivated. Paying off the smallest debt first will give you that quick win and get you excited about paying off more debt. For the debt avalanche method, you basically take your list of debts and you put them in the order of the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate, and then you pay them off in that order. So if you have a credit card that has 24% interest and a student loan that has 6% interest, you will pay the credit card with the higher interest off first. And this is a more mathematical approach because if you pay the highest interest debt off first, you will save money and interest and end up spending a little bit less money over the course of paying off your debt. However, a lot of times the highest interest debt is not going to be a quick debt to pay off. So it does take longer to pay off. It doesn't give you that quick win, but you are going to be saving money over the lifetime that you are paying off these loans. So these are just two different methods to think about. Figure out what's going to work best for your situation. Do you know that you're not going to be as motivated if it's going to take you longer to pay off one of your debts? Just think about these things. Be really honest with yourself. Like I tried for my personal debt payoff plan, I tried for about a year to pay off my credit card because that was the highest interest rate, and it just wasn't happening. I couldn't stay motivated and I was just bouncing back and forth with the balance. So for 2020, I decided I'm focusing in on the debt snowball method. So just be honest with yourself. I now know that I don't have a ton of self-control when it comes to my credit card, so paying that one off first is not the best route for me. So just be honest with yourself, figure out what is going to be the best method for you. If you're going to be more mathematical or if you're going to go off of the psychology of the motivation, whatever is going to work for your situation, pick your method in this step. So also in step 3, what the heck are you going to do to find the money to pay off this debt? So the number one thing that you need to be doing is creating a budget, whether you do that monthly or per paycheck. I will link my budget setup videos, my budget planner videos, so that you can get a full idea of how to do a budget. If you've never done a budget, I also will link in the description box my tutorial on how to do a zero-based budget. Budgeting is really important if you're trying to reach any type of financial goal, because budgeting is not meant to restrict you and restrict your spending. It's really to create a plan of where your money is going to go. So if you are wanting to make an extra $300 payment to debt, but you've never sat down and actually figured out where your money is going, it's going to be really hard to just make a $300 payment to debt and then hope all the rest of your bills are covered. So creating a plan for your money is going to be really important. It'll help you figure out what you can actually cut out of your budget to have more money to put towards your debt. So I personally cut out some of my subscription services. I stopped paying for a gym membership that I wasn't using. It'll help you see where exactly you can cut back and where you can find some extra cash in your normal paycheck, normal budget to send to debt. So that being said, you also can try to find some additional ways to bring in income, whether that is a side hustle, whether you get a second job. This is not an absolutely necessary step. Plenty of people pay off their debt without having a side hustle, but it is something you can think about. I personally started my blog and website and my blog and YouTube channel and my printable shop. That started out as a side hustle to share my journey, and it's turned into this whole business. So just something to think about, that side hustles are an option, but again, definitely not completely necessary. You don't want to stress yourself out and burn yourself out. But if you are full on, like, ready to be out of debt this year, then taking on a second or even third job for a short term can also be an option. So just keep in mind that whatever you are wanting to do, whatever works for your situation, you can do that if you want to get out of debt faster, or if you'd rather take a slower approach, that is perfectly fine as well. Personal finance, again, whatever's gonna work for your situation, that is what I recommend you do. All right, and then the final step, step number 4, is figure out a way to stay focused and motivated. So usually what is gonna work best is some kind of incentive system and kind of a visual of where your progress is. So I'm a visual person when it comes to this sort of thing. I have debt trackers that I use, that I color in. I'll just show you guys. So these are my current debt trackers. I have them for my student loans, my Best Buy credit card I'm paying off. So you can see as I pay the balance down, I color it in. So this is a nice visual representation of where I'm at with my debts. So this is really nice for me to be able to see my progress, and it keeps me motivated because I like getting to color this in. It's a simple thing, but it really does keep me motivated. Other ways that I try to stay motivated is having an incentive system. So I'll tell myself that when I pay something off, then I'm allowed to reward myself with something. So whether that's like buying something that I've wanted for a while. So for example, for me, I really want a Peloton. So I have said that when I pay off my student loans, then I will look into saving for that. When you hit that goal, let yourself celebrate. Even if it's not spending money, even if it's like doing something you've wanted to do, or allowing yourself a month of eating out that you didn't have before, like you can find some sort of incentive that will motivate you to hit your goal that much faster. Along with that, visualize your debt freedom. This works really well for me. Whenever I get frustrated, or if I am sitting with a whole bunch of stuff in my Amazon cart, I just stop for a second and I think, what is it going to feel like when this money goes to debt instead, and one day I'm debt free? I don't have to worry about these minimum payments. Like, I constantly think about how great it's going to feel to not have debt anymore, and what I'm going to be able to do with all of that extra money. I mean, just think about the fact that my car payment is $460. What in the world am I going to do with $460? I haven't had that in years in my budget, but it's going to be awesome to see what kind of things I can actually accomplish with that money when I don't have those minimum payments anymore. So just keep that in your mind. If you want to do like a vision board that you'll see often, I do have some of these debt trackers on my website. I will link some stuff down below that you guys can check out in terms of visuals and that sort of thing for tracking your debt. Really just find something that's going to work for you, whether it's like you have a friend that you meet with every single week and you guys go over your debt payment progress, or even if it's like your boyfriend. Like, I tell my boyfriend about my progress all the time, and talking about money is really motivating since we're working towards the same goals. You want it gone, visualize it, keep it in the front of your mind, think about what it's gonna feel like when you don't have that debt anymore. Just whatever you can do to just keep that goal and visualize that goal in your mind at all times. That's really gonna go a long way towards helping you stay focused, stay motivated to pay off this debt. So that is really the 4 steps that I use to kind of create a plan and how I'm going to be getting out of debt. I do want to also share some tips and tricks with you guys and just some things to think about. So first off, remember that it's probably going to take some time to pay off your debt. Just don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take some time. This is a very slow and steady thing, but it is going to pay off so much. Something else to think about is really finding a community of people that you can talk about debt and your debt payoff with is going to go a long way of keeping you motivated. So check out the debt-free community hashtag on Instagram. Find YouTube channels that talk about budgeting and show their numbers and show their debt progress, because that will be very motivating. That's what I do. That's partly why I started my channel, just to add to this community. Talk about why you want to be debt-free, get other people's reasons, find inspiration. Like, the debt-free community hashtag on Instagram is awesome. There's tons of people to follow. Everybody's like-minded. It's really not a judgmental community at all. I haven't found that, at least with the people I follow. It's been really motivating and inspiring to me to watch other people work towards their goals, and it helps keep me accountable as well when I'm constantly posting my own updates. Think about what you are going to do when you're debt free. I know I kind of mentioned visualizing this, but create an actual plan of what you're going to do when you're debt free. It's going to be really helpful to create a full financial plan. And what I mean by that is, what the heck are you going to do with your money after you're debt free? Are you going to save up an emergency fund? Are you going to save for your future children's college? Are you going to invest? Are you going to max out your 401k? Are you going to retire early? Like, what do you really want to do with your money in your life? What kind of financial freedom are you looking for? What does that look like for you? And having that visual, having that plan will make getting out of debt just that much more of a goal. Like, you will be so much more motivated to just not have these minimum payments anymore, not have this debt anymore, because you can then focus on the goals that are really going to give you the life that you want. And then my last tip is going to be, avoid people and situations that are not going to help you get out of debt. So if you have a friend that has a major shopping problem and every time you do anything with her, you spend $70, you might just want to not avoid her, but limit your association with her while you're trying to get out of debt. I'm not saying like cut your friends out of your life or anything, but just be aware of what effect people have on you and what certain events have on you. If you want to go out every weekend, but then you end up spending a ton of money, maybe limit that to 1 weekend a month, or just don't do it. Like whatever you're willing to do to get out of debt, just be mindful of how people and situations affect you and affect your spending, and avoid those situations that are going to be detrimental to your debt payoff. Also, plan a celebration for when you get out of debt. Whether you go out to dinner or go on a cruise, go on vacation that you've been putting off, whatever you want to do to reward yourself, this is a huge goal. There are people, a lot of people, that go their whole lives with debt. There are people that will never be out of debt. And once you're out of debt, you can do whatever you want with your money. So I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm gonna buy myself something stupid that's like really expensive. I don't spend that much money, so I don't know if I'll be able to make myself do that. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I don't have a set plan yet, but I'm thinking about it now. Like, I want to plan a celebration for when I'm out of debt so that I have something to look forward to as I get closer to that goal. So think about what you want to do for yourself once you reach this major financial milestone. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. I hope you guys can use these tips and these steps to start creating a plan to get yourself out of debt. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what your debt payoff plan is, or what you have questions on, what you need help with. I really love talking with you guys. I also will link all my social media and all the stuff that I talk about in this video, videos and blog posts, anything I mentioned that will help you guys out. I'll link that down below as well. Also, go find me on social media. I talk a lot with people on Instagram. That's a platform I'm probably most active on. So if you want to talk to me more, you can find me over there. Other than that, that is all I really have for you guys this week, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.